Welcome to GCCars. My name is Eric and this is the 2021 Cadillac XT4 Sport. If one of you were to come up to me and ask me, "Hey Eric, can you list me all the SUVs and cars Cadillac makes?" I'll be honest, the XT4 would probably be one of the last ones I would think about. I mean, yes, eventually I would think about it because it's like XT6, XT5, XT4, so it's easy to remember, but it's just one of those cars that I just don't see on the road, at least here in Toronto, and I don't see anyone talking about it. It's kind of like in this incognito mode, and it's not even that it's selling terribly or anything. Originally I was supposed to have a different car this week, but I think we use this opportunity to find out if this XT4 has a reason to be kind of this car is kind of like, I guess it exists, or if it's a hidden gem. For that we're going to take a look at the exterior, the interior, and of course we're going to drive it. Without further ado, let's start off with the exterior. And in terms of exterior, this Cadillac XT4 here is colored in shadow metallic, which is this nice bluish gray silver mix of kind of every single color I can think about right now. It looks pretty good. Fits the Cadillac design cues pretty well, I think. And of course, speaking of Cadillac design cues, with the long headlights that just kind of run down here, and we have the Cadillac, we have the grille that's shaped like the Cadillac logo. I generally think it looks good. We have some very intense creases and edges here on the hood, which is kind of interesting. The wheels look good, plenty of sidewall, which is nice for ride quality. That's always an important thing. And of course, it's an SUV. We have a plastic cladding everywhere to hide a bit of visual mass. From the side, I'll be honest, there's not much to say here from the side. It's kind of like unspectacular. It's not bad looking, but it's just kind of like, all right. Well, let's take a look at the rear. This is probably my favorite part of the whole look of the XT4. I think it's very interesting. I mean, this, like, once again, right, the Cadillac lights running down, that's very typical Cadillac. But then we have them kind of turning in down here and on the side. I think it actually looks pretty good. I like that. And also they're like kind of black. Can you call that blacked out? Because the glass itself isn't blacked out, but when the lights are off, they're obviously on right now. It's just like gray. So there's no red visible or anything. Looks pretty decent. It is still like a subcompact SUV, so I don't really like most of the time how they look. I think the XT4 here overall looks pretty decent though. But once again, we don't need an all-wheel drive badge. I will say this as often as I need to, which is probably forever, but I don't care. I'll say that every single time. If you're a luxury brand, don't put all-wheel drive on your car. I mean, there probably is marketing behind it and it works, but I think it kind of degrades the badge because all you need to know is the Cadillac XT4. And of course we got the new naming scheme with the 350T, which means a turbo engine, 350 Newton meters of torque if you round up to the next 50. Trunk. Automatic. There you can see my gear in there. And decent space, 22.8 cubic feet back here. And if you lay down the second row, you get close to 45 cubic feet, which is decent, I think. Should be able to store pretty much everything you need in here. But let's take a look at the interior, which is a little more important here. Okay, taking a look at the interior of the Cadillac XT4. But first, let me take a sip of water, just like all unbiased and impartial journalists do. Thanks, Cadillac. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't buy this. I won this at a Kahoot night. So figure it was funny. Anyhow, the interior kind of surprised me. I'll be honest. I didn't expect this to be that nice, but it is. It is. The materials are really nice. We got leatherette, not proper leather here, but that's pretty common at this price point. Mercedes will also just give you, they call it Dynamica and some other weird name. They have weird names for it. It's not real leather. But it feels really nice. It's soft, especially here on the armrest. Nice and soft. Everything up here, soft. This is soft. Everything is really nice and soft. And the seats especially, they're very comfortable. Heated, by the way. They're very soft and nice. And they really contribute to the way this car rides and all that, but we'll get to that later. But no, it is very nice. We got carbon fiber trim, not used in excess. You guys know I don't like carbon fiber on the interior until it's like, unless you're a supercar, don't use it. But this isn't excessive. This is actually looking really nice, and it's probably the nicest carbon fiber trim visually, from my opinion, so far I have seen. In terms of layout, this is the typical Cadillac layout, which is the General Motors infotainment. The infotainment, once again, really good. Wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Not the most feature-rich. The Escalade has a new one, but this works really well. Gauges are screen in the middle, 2 analog ones. Well, 2 screens in the middle, 1 analog, 2 analog. Sorry, gauges around. They work. It is just technologically not as impressive as some other offerings at this price point will get you. This is a very basic interior. This is an interior that's, in terms of like technology, interior that if you maybe don't need or maybe do not want the fanciest tech, this is something that you will like. But if you're looking for tech, if you want to have, you know, a little bit of wow factor, some ambient lighting, which this one doesn't have, then this might not be quite for you. We do have a nice sunroof up here, which is part of a $3,500 option though, which also comes with the new stereo system. The stereo system is pretty good. It's 13 speaker Bose system. It is nice. It's not the best I've ever had, but it's certainly enjoyable to listen to music, and above average, I would say. Above average means most stereo systems are good. Above average means it is pretty to really good. And then there's just excellent just on top. So just, you know, it's not bad. I like it. Bit of criticism here. Well, actually before that, we have our dial to use the touchscreen here again, which is, for this infotainment, it just doesn't make sense, and I don't think it was meant for this system. It's meant for the Cadillac Escalade, where it makes sense. Here, it's just use the touchscreen, it's faster. And I like the shifter, but in terms of our, like, we have this little cover here, which is nice and looks good to cover the cigarette lighter, the SD card, a USB-C, and a regular USB outlet. I just wish it had a tiny little gap somewhere so I can put a cable through it, because if I have a dash cam plugged in, I have to leave it open all the time, which just doesn't look as appealing. Just make a tiny little gap in there, and then I could use it. Would be nice. Speaking of gaps to reach stuff through, we have that with our center console. Obviously a small center console, but we have a little removable tray here. We have another cigarette lighter outlet. I could technically put my dash cam up there and run it through here. Yes, that would work. But then we have a little phone holder. We don't have wireless phone charger. That's an option. But you have this. I'll show you so it's easy to understand. We have this little, I was going to call it a part. This little part. You can stick it wherever we like to. Oh, which direction was it? Oh God, how did I put this in again? Yes, so you can put it in anywhere we like it. So we can put it at different heights and all that. So you can adjust how far, for example, your phone peeks out or something. A neat little thingy here. But yeah, ventilated seats are available as an option. And in terms of the back seats, we have pretty good space, honestly. Really like it. It's nice and comfy. The materials are still just as good as up front, although the bottom of the door is a little scratchy plastic, but that's pretty regular at this price point. But we also have nice connectivity with a USB and a USB-C, and they're heated seats. But I think that concludes the interior segment. Why don't we just go out on the road? Now on the road in the Cadillac XT4, but as always, we're going to start it off with a launch. So we're going to put it into sport mode to engage our all-wheel drive. We are going to disable traction control, although I don't that it makes much of a difference, and it's going to shift itself. I'm not going to shift it. So let's put it here and brake torque it. 2,500. 30, 40, 50, 60. Yeah, decently fast. I mean, it's not like it doesn't blow me away with its speed, but we've got a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder, and it produces 237 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, and that's sufficient. That's sufficient. You don't need more power. This is more than plenty for every scenario, as long as you don't as long as you don't you're not looking for the thrill of accelerating. Which why would you buy this car then? Like for daily driving, this is more than fine. This is more than plenty. You won't have any complaints about the speed at which you will be accelerating. Even merging on the highway or accelerating on the highway is done so with ease. The transmission most of the time shifts very nicely, actually. I like it, and I like how it shifts. It's very smooth. Just when you want to do it in a little bit of a more engaging manner, if you drive a little faster, then can take its time. During normal driving, it really drives completely fine. Let's see, 50 kilometers an hour. Good pickup, power's there instantly. Turbo spools up pretty fast. You notice that when we were accelerating that the the initial hit, the initial power coming in wasn't really much, but then like half a second later the turbo kicked in, and then we had the power. So you really, if you want to drive this fast, or if you need to drive this fast, you really got to stay in the turbo power band so you get all the power you want. But let me just go past the Civic here. But no, like you buy this XT4 for comfortable daily driving, and the drivetrain does a good job with that. The drivetrain does a very good job with that. But another thing about luxury cars is ride quality and, to an extent, handling. And the ride quality here in this XT4 is decent. It's pretty soft, but it doesn't stand out in any way. Like it's like I don't have an issue with it, but I'm also like, wow, this is very soft. It's just, it's all right. It's all right. And the bigger issue for me is the way it drives. Well, issue is the wrong word. It's not really an issue. It drives fine. But if you compare it to other luxury brands, and especially, I'm just going to mention the GLA and the GLB. I'm going to come to them later again. I'm going to talk more about them. This just doesn't have the rigidity. It doesn't feel as planted. It doesn't feel as well composed as those do on the road. This doesn't feel like a high dollar luxury car. I mean high dollar as in like, often these, even the cheaper platforms for luxury manufacturers, they have a bit more, they just feel a little more dynamic. The driving dynamics are a lot better. This is very normal, as in this could have been a nice riding Chevy in terms of its driving dynamics. It does actually grip pretty well. Like I've done the highway POV and I was surprised how much front end grip there is and how well it took the highway on, we always do. But it's just, you know, there's just this bit is missing. There's something missing from it. But this is really high level criticism that really only people like me and other automotive journalists will notice. People that keep driving, like, you can go to the sport mode, by the way. We also have an regular all-wheel drive mode, and we have an off-road mode, by the way, just so you know. I didn't really test the off-road mode because, well, I didn't take it off-road because it's not meant to go off-road. Anyhow, this is high-level criticism because if you do not drive a different car every single week and drive all the luxury cars, if you maybe, you know, you upgrade your car every couple of years and you're maybe not even coming from a Cadillac or any luxury car, you won't notice that. What you will notice is that the ride quality is still pretty good and that it drives nicely. You won't notice that, okay, yeah, you know what, Mercedes just kind of feels a little more grippy, feels a little more rigid, a bit more, you know, just a little more dynamic in terms of its drive. You won't notice that because, quite frankly, for 90% of you when watching this, or at least watching it because you are interested in this XT4 and not just want to watch my videos, because you won't care about that. That's just a fact. and I'm not gonna hide that. So does it drive as well as the Mercedes do? No. But it's still fine, I would say. Which kind of leaves us with one more point. Well, actually two more points. I want to talk about NVH, noise, vibrations, and harshness. So just generally how it is in here. It is it's just like, oh no, we got a train. That's annoying, and we're gonna wait here for 10 minutes. I should just turn around because these trains are like, I kid you, like 2 or 3 kilometers long, so this will take forever. Yeah, I should turn around. Sorry, I got it. Let me just, Union Pacific, building America. All right, cool. Our reverse camera is pretty good. Nice wide angle, and it also pretty good resolution. I like it, and I like using the shifter. The shifter in Cadillacs is really nice because it's easy to use. It is very nice, and it feels very nice in your hands. Good grip on it. Oh, the train is actually the one time I turn around, it's a short train. Okay, it doesn't matter. What I was about to say, right? So noise, vibration, and harshness. Vibrations really get absorbed pretty well because we got these soft seats, right? Like I said, so even when the suspension itself maybe isn't the best out there, it's good. It's not just doesn't stand out. coupled with the the big sidewall we have on the tires because the wheels aren't that tall in terms of diameter, plus the soft seats, vibrations get absorbed really well. Even train tracks really don't get through to you. Like, once again, you feel the vibrations, but you don't feel any shocks. There's no harshness really in that. Noise is okay. I've been in quite luxury cars, but I've been in louder ones as well. This is fine. Just once again, the point pretty much, as long as you don't drive all the other luxury cars all the time, you won't really notice that and you won't have an issue with it. One more thing. The last thing we always talk about though is tech, driving tech. And Cadillac, because it's a luxury brand, they lock a lot of good tech, a lot of tech that you should have in a car like this. They lock it behind expensive options. So for example, we do have the adaptive, the automatic high beams, which is nice, but we don't have adaptive cruise control, which, I'm sorry, a base level Sentra has it. Cadillac, you can include it. You don't need to rip off your people. I'm saying that with every manufacturer. I stole the same thing to Mercedes and all that. Just like, I know you can get more profit out of it, but just come on. Especially because they're coupled to like very expensive options most of the time. Anyhow, so we like the only really noticeable tech that's not, that we don't, this is a rough road. But like you see, there's a few vibrations, but it's not uncomfortable for me. So like I said, automatic high beams, they work fine, they work well. The high beams and the LED headlights themselves are really good. So no issues whatsoever. And we have automatic emergency braking in front. I'll be honest, it's a little too active. Like, it beeps at you sometimes when it really doesn't have to. Like, once it even it pre-pressures the brakes. So if you brake just a little, you suddenly almost do an emergency brake. It caught me off guard once. It didn't need to do that. I saw that it wasn't really dangerous in front. Like, there was still plenty of room, and they were about to pull away, so that's why I didn't slow down all the way, right? Just like when you pull up to somebody who's just at a red light that just turned green. But I'd rather have these systems a little too active than not engage in the one situation that you're needed. So I don't really have an issue with it. If you have it enabled, it'll beep at you occasionally. You'll have the lights flashing. You'll get used to that. It's just occasionally, and it's fine. But I think that will actually already conclude our driving segment and pretty much the review. So I think we're just going to do one more cent. Actually, we haven't tested the pedals yet. We have pedals. Manual. So 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, turbo, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. There's a noticeable delay in terms of when it actually shifts. There's about a second of a delay, but it's fine. It's fine. Like, you don't really need to shift yourself. I did it like once during my week, but whatever. I think we're going to send it off to the final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on the 2021 Cadillac XT4 Sport. And in the intro, I asked the question, why is it that I can't seem to find it on the road? Why don't I hear any conversations on it or read anything about it really online? Is there anything wrong with it? Does it have any flaws? Or is it kind of this hidden gem that we just don't pay attention to for some reason? And after spending a week with it, I can tell you, I didn't find any faults. I didn't find any flaws. I think it looks pretty good. The interior is decent. The power is good. Tech's okay and works. There's nothing wrong with this XT4. But in this segment, and at a price of $50,738 Canadian, having nothing wrong with it just isn't enough. You need something to stand out. You need something to draw people in, to get people's attention. And unfortunately, aside from maybe it looks, this XT4 just doesn't stand out. And as weird of a situation I find myself in right now, because normally it would be reversed and I would criticize Mercedes for the following. But I just don't see the value in this XT4. Why wouldn't you go with a Mercedes GLB? Just to get a GLB 250, as we tested the GLB 250, it was $4,000 more expensive. Delete the sport package, delete the third row, which this one doesn't have, and you're about at $1,000 more, maybe. Of course, yes, you can play with some of the options like the XT4, but either way, like, it doesn't matter how you play with the options, the GLB will pretty much always come out ahead. And it will handle nicer, it'll have more room, the interior will be better, and you'll have better tech, and it has this wow factor. Yes, this is nice, but I like this. No, but the GLB just feels more luxurious in pretty much every regard. This, unfortunately, doesn't feel special. Now, there's one thing though. There's one big factor for some of you. It won't be a factor for all of you. Probably actually for a minority only will that be a factor. It would be a factor for me though. Because if you're looking for a luxury subcompact SUV right now, and you compare the XT4 to the GLB, you'll see that the GLB is built in Mexico. This, on the other hand, is built in Kansas. So, especially for people down in the States, if you want to support local jobs, there is a reason to maybe pay a little more for a little less, or just get a little less for the same amount of money. Go with Cadillac XT4 and support not only your country's economy, but also kind of give General Motors and other manufacturers a bit of an incentive to build more at home. But that's unfortunately the only thing I can really say about this. I like it, but it just isn't enough. Anyhow, Cadillac will return. Like I said, this wasn't even scheduled. This wasn't planned, but we had to make some accommodations. They will return, and I've talked about getting the Escalade for a long time, and the Escalade is coming. And I've spent a few days with the Escalade, and the video will be nice, and I'm not going to say too much. Cadillac will very likely redeem themselves with that. But the XT4 is a different story. Thank you so much for watching though. I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos, because we upload new reviews every single Friday, every week at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And additionally, I do have POV drives. We have highway POV drives, city POV drives, night POV drives, where we test everything from handling to high beams, cruise control, transmission logic, all the things. If you want to see that, or see that about the XT4, just have it on the top right hand corner. Just click on the link somewhere on the screen here, or just go on my channel and find it directly. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.